Oh, may I join the choir invisible of those immortal dead who live again in minds made better by their presence. Live in pulses stirred to generosity, in deeds of daring rectitude, in scorn for miserable aims that end with self, in thoughts sublime that pierce the night like stars, and with their mild persistence urge man's search to vaster issues. So to live is heaven, to make undying music in the world, breathing as beauteous order that controls with growing sway the growing life of man. So we inherit that sweet purity for which we struggled, failed, and agonized with widening retrospect that bred despair. Rebellious flesh that would not be subdued, a vicious parent shaming still its child. Poor anxious penitence is quick dissolved, its discords, quenched by meeting harmonies, die in the large and charitable air. And all our rarer, better, truer self that sobbed religiously in yearning song, that watched to ease the burthen of the world, laboriously tracing what must be and what may yet be better, saw within a worthier image for the sanctuary, and shaped it forth before the multitude, divinely human, raising worship so to higher reverence more mixed with love. That better self shall live till human time shall fold its eyelids, and the human sky be gathered like a scroll within the tomb, unread forever. This is life to come, which martyred men have made more glorious for us who strive to follow. May I reach that purest heaven, be to other souls the cup of strength in some great agony, enkindle generous ardor, feed pure love, beget the smiles that have no cruelty, be the sweet presence of a good diffused, and in diffusion ever more intense. So shall I join the choir invisible, whose music is the gladness of the world.
George Eliot's The Choir Invisible is a poem about immortality, but not the kind secured by heaven, resurrection, or the survival of the individual soul. Instead, Eliot imagines a quieter and more demanding afterlife, a life that continues only as influence, only as what it awakens in others. The poem opens as a prayer, "Oh, may I join the choir invisible." But it's a prayer without divine addressee. Eliot's not asking God for eternal life. She's asking whether a human life might endure by being taken up into something larger than itself, something that continues after the self has fallen away. The choir invisible is made up of those immortal dead who live again, in minds made better by their presence. Immortality here is not a memory, fame, or recognition. It is transmission. The dead live on as generosity, courage, rectitude, as a learned scorn for what Eliot calls miserable aims that end with self. A life that curls inward disappears. A life that moves outward endures. The choir invisible is Eliot's answer to the enclosed self. It is what remains when the boundaries of ego dissolve and life becomes a part of a shared moral order. Music is the poem's governing metaphor. The choir does not sing with vocals. Its music is made of actions and thoughts, pulses stirred to generosity, deeds of daring rectitude, and ideas that pierce the night like stars. Music matters because it only exists as a movement. It can't be stored. It can't be owned. It survives only by passing through others. And that insight explains why the choir is invisible. Its music is real, but it can never be pointed to. It exists only as continuation. So when Eliot writes, "So to live is heaven," she makes her boldest claim. Heaven is not postponed, it is enacted. The line faintly echoes biblical language, especially the Gospel of John's definition of eternal life as a way of knowing rather than endless duration. But Eliot removes the theology and keeps the structure. A life aligned with truth, beauty, and responsibility is its own fulfillment. This poem does not idealize this vision. Eliot insists on costs. She names failure, despair, rebellious flesh, inherited weakness, anxious penitence. But these are not erased, they are absorbed. Their discords are quenched by meeting harmonies. The individual life is not perfected, it's taken up. Its failures are folded into something larger than itself. And that prepares the poem's distinction between the ordinary self and the rarer, better, and truer self. This better self is not purer or stronger, it is quieter. It watches to ease the burden of the world. It labors patiently to imagine what must be and what may yet be better. It does not dominate, it attends. Even this moral afterlife is limited. The better self will live only until human time shall fold its eyelids. Eliot refuses both the religious eternality and romantic permanence. Meaning lasts, but only as long as there are human beings capable of receiving it. The choir exists only while there are ears to hear it. The final prayer clarifies Eliot's hope. She does not ask to be remembered, but she asks to be useful, to be the cup of strength in some great agony. The phrase quietly recalls the biblical imagery, the cup of suffering, the cup of blessing. But here, the cup is passed not from God to man, but from one human being to another. Grace moving horizontally. To be the sweet presence of a good diffused is Eliot's highest ambition. Diffusion means disappearance. The good becomes strongest when it is no longer pointing back to its source, and when it can no longer be claimed. The poem ends where it began, with the choir invisible. Its music is not triumph, not salvation, not reward. It is simply the gladness of the world. Eliot offers no promise of heaven beyond the grave. What she offers instead is sterner and more demanding. The hope that a life rightly lived might continue to make the world more humane, long after the voice that shaped it has gone silent.